Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Travel Place YouTube channel. Today is Thursday, September 19th, and it's going to be a little bit different breakdown tonight because I've never merged the NFL and college football pick, but that's what we're going to be doing tonight because we only have one NFL game. We only have one college football game. I'll be breaking them both down. Thursday night football between the Jets and the Patriots. We're also going to be breaking down South Alabama going up against Appalachian State. I'll have two player props for the NFL game, one player prop for the college football game. I'm hoping this works out because if it does, I'll start doing this for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights in the future. But if you guys enjoy the content, if you would please drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel below. That goes a long way. Hope everybody enjoys their Thursday, and let's break down some ball. All right, guys, we have a double leaderboard and double recap graphic to break down. Falcons plus 5.5 against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. Worked out. Kirk Cousins, legendary drive, minute 40. Nick Sirianni, bow-headed move to run or to not run the ball in the last seconds of that game. Really good play design. The throw was there. Barkley just dropped the ball, but Barkley has the worst drop rate of any running back in the NFL, so bad coaching. Devontae Smith, over 74.5 receiving yards, had 76 in the game, so barely cashed that one, and barely didn't cash this one. Drake London, I believe he finished with 53 receiving yards in that game. So 1-1 the player props, 2-1 total. Here is the leaderboard for those. 1-1 the player props, 1-0 the game picks, 15-13 to start the NFL season. Here is the update from Saturday afternoon. Not a very good day. Was 3-5 on the game picks, 1-0 on the player props. As you guys know, if you've been with us for a while, if I can't bet the player prop, I don't count it as a win or a loss. But I will tell you, if I could have bet them, Micah Bernard, he had over 100 rushing yards, so that one would have cashed. Jake Garcia, I think he finished with like 200 and change, so that one would have been close. Probably wouldn't have got it because it would have probably been like 268. I think he only had like 207, so probably wouldn't have split the orange ones, but we did win. Camden Benjamin over 67.5 receiving yards against OK State. Pretty sure that hit in the first half. The games, Wisconsin plus 16.5 going up against Alabama. Tyler Van Dyke broke his leg or tore his ACL in the first drive of the game, and they did score. So would it have been a different game with Tyler Van Dyke in there? Maybe. I don't know. But Alabama rolls with no quarterback for Wisconsin. Missouri versus BC over 54. Felt like a lot of points could have been scored. Not a lot of points were scored. I think they finished with 50 in that game. Missouri comes out with a win. Oregon minus 16.5 stomped all over Oregon State. They looked really good in that game. Washington minus 5 should have never took the favorite in the Apple Cup. That was the last time Wazoo's going to play Washington, I think, 5 years. So that was a mistake on my part. Tennessee minus 49 against Kent State. Onside kick up 30 in the first quarter. That was embarrassing for Kent State. It was bully ball by Tennessee. The starters, they were out of that game in the second quarter with like 5 or 10 minutes left in the game. So, or in the second quarter, and then they went on to win, I think, 70-something to 0. So Tennessee rolled. Colorado State did not answer the call going up against Colorado. Colorado, they didn't look great. Colorado State just looked really bad. And then Shedeur Sanders, after the game, had all of his linemen behind him in the press conference, kind of like that move. Vanderbilt going up against Georgia State, over 45.5. Good thing because Vanderbilt looked like crap. And then Georgia, speaking of looking like crap, minus 22 against Kentucky. Probably should have took Kentucky in this one. I think the last 2 years, Georgia going to Kentucky, that's been a really low-scoring game, really close game. So that was my bet on that one. So those were the plays for Saturday. Here's a look at the leaderboard. 3-5 of the game picks, 1 on the player props, 26 and 25 to start the college season. Let's take a look at the games for Thursday in the NFL. First, we're going to start with Thursday Night Football. The New England Patriots going up against the New York Jets. This is going to be a home game for the Jets, and they're coming off of that win going up against the Tennessee Titans in an ugly game. If the Tennessee Titans had anybody else at quarterback, we might have seen them win that game. But Will Levis, once again, had one of the worst totals we've seen on this season. He has now done that in back-to-back games, and it's opened the door for the Jets in that one. They really capitalized after that. The Jets also in the second half, they kind of took over in that game. The Titans had a chance late to tie it back up. The Jets defense, they stood tall towards the end of that game. For the Patriots, they looked decent again going up against the Seattle Seahawks. It looked like they were going to win that game, but in overtime, they decided to punt, which I always think is a bad decision in overtime unless you're on your own 25 or own 30 in a 4th and 10-plus yards. You guys know the rules of overtime. If you punt the ball, that team only has to get to the 42-ish yard line in order to win that game. All they need is a field goal. So the Patriots punting that on 4th and 1 from their own 40, I kind of get it, but at the same time, your entire team, your entire mentality is to run the ball and be better up front than everybody else. So I don't understand the call there. Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Kind of cost them the game. In this one, I'm taking the Jets minus 6.5. This really comes down to quarterback play because Aaron Rodgers, we know he's really good. He does look like he's still hurt just a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers, he can move the ball up and down the field. And out of the Patriots defense, they're pretty good, but the Jets, they can take shots down the field. And the Patriots so far, from what we've seen, don't take very many shots down the field, and they don't use the receivers at all. I think last week the stat for the Patriots, they had 3 total catches by the wide receiver for 7 yards or something like that. So no disrespect to Jacoby Brissett because he does have a win this season. They're 500 on the year. The Patriots, I think if you ask any Patriots fan, they'll say, yeah, we'll take the 1-1 start. But I don't think the Patriots can beat the Jets here. I don't think they compete offensively with them. I do think this is probably going to be a defensive battle throughout the first half of the game, but the Jets towards the end of the third quarter, towards the end of the fourth quarter, they're going to find a way to have this game wrapped up by 2 touchdowns. If you can find a way to get up a couple touchdowns going up against the Pats, the game's already over. So give me the Jets here, minus 6.5 as the play. Final score 15-23. Now let's go over to some college football. We're going to be looking at South Alabama going up against Appalachian State. This, in my mind, is going to be an absolute blowout. I was able to watch South Alabama twice already this season. They're not a good team. Despite them putting up 87 points against the School of the Blind last week, Appalachian State, I still think they're a pretty good team this season. The defense has not been very good over the first 3 games, but in the second half of that East Carolina game, that passing defense, it was very good. You saw Jake Garcia on the player props right before we started breaking down these games. The first drive of that game for East Carolina, Jake Garcia had 80 yards passing with a touchdown. And like I said, I believe Garcia only finished with like 200 yards. So in that game, App State defensively in the second half, they really showed up and they came back from down 14. South Alabama, they lost both of their opening games. And then I said they put up 87 points going up against Northwestern State, a really bad FCS team. I do think App State will probably be the best team in the Sun Belt Conference for the entire season. And App State on the offensive side, they're going to dominate the defense of South Alabama. South Alabama, they gave up 52 points and over 500 yards total going against North Texas. They also gave up 400 yards plus to Ohio 2 weeks ago. So this is one of the worst defenses that we've seen in college football so far. And I know that App State has not been great, especially in that game against Clemson, but they did manage nearly 400 yards on offense going up against Clemson. The defense, it's a huge question mark for App State. I understand that, but they did play a lot better in that second half going up against East Carolina. Joey Aguilar, the quarterback for App State, he's going to explode in this game going up against that defense of South Alabama. I think they could easily score 50-plus points. But to be conservative and realistic, I'll give them 45. Final score 27-45 in favor of App State. Let's go over to some player props. We are going to start with some NFL player props. We have 2 of them. And we're going to start with Breece Hall of the Jets to go over 30.5 receiving yards going up against the Patriots. From what we've seen so far, the Patriots defense, they are selling out for the run, and that might just be because they played the Broncos and the Seahawks in the first 2 games. 2 teams that I don't think are very good this season. Also 2 teams that try to run the ball this season as well. But if the numbers don't lie, I do think that Breece Hall is not going to find a lot of open lanes to run through in this game. He has had a lot of success through the air this season for the New York Jets, having a lot of catches out of the backfield already this year and doing a lot of his damage in the screen game. We already did take Breece Hall this season on Monday Night Football in the first week of the season on the player prop. He did cash over the receiving yards as well in that game. I'm looking to cash another one this week, over 30.5 receiving yards for him going up against the Pats. And as you can see on his previous game, he was very effective in the passing game, 52 receiving yards, and I believe he had 7 catches in that game going up against the Titans. The Patriots on the year, 58 total rushing yards per game, 233 yards per game through the air. Rodgers has already shown that he loves to check the ball down to Breece Hall. He doesn't love to scramble. He's going to stay in the pocket. If he gets in trouble, Breece Hall is right there for the check down. Give me his over 30.5 receiving yards as the play there. For the other player prop, we're going to be looking at Ramondre Stevenson of the Patriots to go over 64.5 rushing yards against the Jets. Kind of the exact opposite for this player prop because the Jets defense, they've allowed 155 rushing yards per game over the last 2 games. That's entirely too much. That's almost the worst number in the NFL this season going up against the Titans and the 49ers over the first 2 weeks. I do expect that to change just a little bit in this game because Jacoby Brissett is not really a passing threat, so I'm sure the Jets will try to crowd the box in this game, but 64.5 rushing yard for Stevenson, that doesn't feel like a lot. He has been one of the more used bell cows, I guess I can call him, this season in the NFL, not having a lot of competition behind him. He does get a lot of the carries. The Patriots, I think everybody can agree their mindset is to run the ball, get 4 yards per play, control the clock, and I do think that's going to be the game plan on this one. Hopefully we do cash this one pretty early, though, because I do think the Jets are going to find a way to be up a couple touchdowns by the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter. So I would love to cash this one early. Stevenson has now had 2 really good games in weeks 1 and 2. He's coming off an 81-yard game against the Seahawks and a touchdown. I like the Pats to continue to work the ground game. Give me Ramondre Stevenson over 64.5 rushing yards as the play for the college football player prop. We're going to be going to the App State and South Alabama game. Give me Caden Robinson of App State to go over 80.5 receiving yards going up against South Alabama. I've already talked about this matchup, and I do think Joey Aguilar, the quarterback for App State, is going to have himself a monster game. So if you want to take his overpassing yards or his overpassing touchdowns, I think that's a really good play. I'm going to take his top target here, Caden Robinson. He's coming off a really good game, having 7 catches, 129 yards going up against East Carolina. This is year number 3 with App State. He's coming off a good season last year, 67 catches, almost notched 1,000 yards, had 10 touchdowns He was one of the top targets last season. He is the top target this season. He really hasn't had a bad game this year. His worst one was against Clemson. He only had 58 receiving yards, but he's also had 100 yards in 2 of the 3 games. He is by far the most targeted wide receiver on this team. He has the most receptions as well. He has 18. The next closest guy is 11. We've already talked about the South Alabama defense. They allowed 325 passing yards per game, and they've been playing some pretty bad teams over the first couple games as well. This is going to be their toughest test of the season, and I know that people think that App State's not a very good team because they haven't played well over the first couple games, but they're 2-1, and I do think this is the best team in the Sun Belt. They're going to explode in this game. A lot of touchdowns being scored in this one. Give me their top receiver, Caden Robinson, over 80.5 receiving yards as the play there. Let's go over to the recap graphic for the NFL first. Jets, minus 6.5. Breece Hall, over 30.5 receiving yards against the Pats. And then Ramondre Stevenson, over 64.5 rushing yards against the Jets. Keon White, edge rusher for the Pats. 4 sacks already this season. Something to look at if Rodgers can escape the pocket. Pats might get a couple defensive sacks. I don't know if anybody plays the sacks for players or for teams, but I think that's something to look at. And then for the college recap graphic here, App State, play them at -7, play them up to -9.5. I see the line moving already. It's -7.5 right now. And then Caden Robinson of App State, over 80.5 receiving yards going up against South Alabama. I really think App State can put up 50-plus points in this game. So those are the plays. That's going to do it for the NFL and NCAA football plays and props for Thursday, September 19th slated games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe down below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.